Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 82, Text number 45. अहम हि सर्वभूतानां आदिरन्तो अन्तरं बहिः भौतिकानां यथा खंवार भूर्वायुर्ज्योतिरंगनाः अहम हि सर्वभूतानां आदिरन्तो अन्तरं बहिः भौतिकानां यथा खंवार भूर्वायुर्ज्योतिरंगनाः अहम हि सर्वभूतानां आदिरन्तो अन्तरं बहिः भौतिकानां यथा खंवार भूर्वायुर्ज्योतिरंगनाः What word meaning? Aham, I, he, indeed, sarva, all, bhutanam, of created beings, adihi, the beginning, anta, the end, antaram, inside, bahi, outside, bhautikanam, of material things, yata, as, kham, ether, va, water, bhu, earth, vayu, air, jyotihi, and fire, angana, O ladies. So Krishna is addressing the ladies of Vrindavan that he is the beginning and end of all created beings and exists both within and without them. Just as the elements ether, water, earth, air, and fire are the beginning and end of all material objects and exists both within and without them. Purport by the divine disciples of His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. According to Srila Sridhar Swami and Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti, Lord Krishna implies the following idea in this verse. If you know that I am the Supreme Lord, there should be no question of your suffering any separation from me since I pervade all existence. Your unhappiness must be due to a lack of discrimination. Therefore, please take this instruction from me, which will remove your ignorance. And another intent. But the truth of the matter is that you gopis were in your previous lives great masters of yoga. And thus you must already know the science of Jnana Yoga. Furthermore, whether I try to teach this to you in person or through my representatives such as Uddhava, it will not produce the desired result. Jnana Yoga simply causes suffering for those who are fully immersed in pure love of Godhead. We'll recite Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha नमाम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे. So today is a very, very auspicious day of so many appearance of Srimati Sita Devi, consort of Lord Ramachandra, and appearance of Jahnavi Devi, and also disappearance of Madhu Pandit. So, so here Krishna is addressing the topmost devotees. Bhagavad Gita, one of the sloka comes, Matstani Sarva Bhutani, and then again Namastani Sarva Bhutani. Consecutive, totally contradictory. So, Matstani Sarva Bhutani is Paramatma, future of Lord. Lord is there in every atom, and He's there beside every soul also. And along with that, Namatstani Sarvabhutani. He is there in his spiritual abode. So that is Bhagwan future. There is one Paramatma future, and there is Bhagwan future also. So here we can see the two paragraphs in that particular context. So just like we see that Lord Ramachandra reciprocating with, I mean, in his pastimes of banishing Mother Sita, which is discussed as often, which is so much misunderstood. So there, the uh, different understandings which I heard from my spiritual master, that first one of them is because the Dhobi, he doubted Mother Sita, and that doubt is a demon. So after banishing Mother Sita, Lord Ramachandra, he killed that demon of doubt, and thereafter nobody ever doubted after this Dhobi. Nobody had any, uh, you know, any of that, particular kind of um, critical outlook. Nobody ever doubted after that. So he wanted to kill the demon of doubt. That is first purpose. And second thing is to establish the Raja Dharma as superior to the Kula Dharma. That is one more aspect. And the third thing which Lord Ramachandra tells is to give the bliss of separation to Mother Sita, which no one else except Mother Sita understood. This is what I heard from my spiritual master. So actually, the Janma Karma Chame Divyam, the birth and activities of Supreme Lord, Absolute Truth, it's completely beyond our understanding. Parambhavam Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Actually, people cannot just understand the Parambhavam, which is beyond one's, uh, beyond time and space and even mind also. So it is not a paroksha thing, not something which is visible to the eyes or something like that. So I see this kind of thing. How is it so? Like so many people, they get into their different statements as if So so actually, there are different levels of perceiving the absolute truth in proportion to one's advancement, and it is same with the holy names also. So, like how one is surrendering to holy names, and how one is uh, in fact to begin with, how one is behaving with the holy names, because the holy name is non-different from Supreme Lord, Are you just calling the Lord and misbehaving by just wandering around and playing around, or are you really conscious that here is a personality non-different from here is the sound vibration which is non-different from Supreme Lord? So there is a lot of difference in the experience in the reciprocation, and that actually directly projects that reciprocation of Lord again. It causes one's enthusiasm or lack of enthusiasm in chanting the next holy names, in uttering the next holy names. So and that's how some people uh, like if one is not so conscious, so then eventually one will start slowly slacking and starts going down in the chanting. So the chanting of holy names is the best way. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. 3 times. Kalau Nasyeva, Nasyeva, Nasyeva Gatiranyata. So to give up the false ego and taking to the true ego mainly, taking to the true ego is the only way to give up the false ego. So this process happens very powerfully when we understand our insignificant position and the supreme position of the absolute truth. So actually, more you chant with this understanding. In fact, with this feeling, you apply yourself, with that feeling to the holy names. My Lord, I am so insignificant, and your supreme person, like that desperation to depend on holy names. So that much proportionally, one experiences the reciprocation of Lord. So recently, His Holiness Bhaktivignan Maharaj was mentioning about one very interesting discussion. So actually, when one starts associating with holy names, then more one spiritualizes, one fires up one's consciousness, then one can enter fire. One will be in the normal state. In fact, everyone in spiritual world is normal, and everyone in material world is abnormal. So it all started with giving up. It all started with envy towards Supreme Lord, which is in detail. It is giving up true ego and taking to the false ego. Giving up the normal condition and taking to the abnormal condition. So now, when you want to purify yourself, you have to give up the false ego and take to true ego. And in the process, what happens? His Holiness Bhaktivignan Maharaj was very powerfully mentioning that it happens with everybody. In fact, in details, like uh, he tells that at a certain point of time, it so happens that one seems to be feeling that he is sort of abandoned by Krishna, or he seemed to be like sort of quarreling with Krishna like that. And this is actually the point of the last snare of Maya. So where I mean, like you're trying to struggle with the giving up of false ego and taking to true ego. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that how a spirit soul, when he enters into the body of Mahavishnu, second canto this comes. So all the subtle covering is momentarily removed from the spirit souls, and immediately they get on to the self-realization. I am a servant of Krishna, and it becomes so intolerable for the spirit soul that Mahavishnu keeps them back to the sleep. So, so actually, that is actually called as, in fact, that how it started, that atheistic mentality. It is not something philosophical where it started. It started with psychologically. One gives up one's relation with the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is so wonderful and so caring, uh, so merciful. I remember in Hyderabad temple, the ISKCON Hyderabad, they always keep saying, the most merciful lordships, Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. They always keep saying the most merciful lordships, the most merciful lordships. Of course, it's like it's a good practice, to sort of remind oneself, how merciful Lord is. In fact, frankly speaking, um, the Lord's mercy, it is um, sort of like Srila Prabhupada mentions in one of the purport that nobody on the planet, they can appreciate one's problems, or solving one's problems as much as the Lord does. Lord, when in that particular problematic condition, when one surrenders to Lord, it is Lord only who, uh, who actually, in fact, Lord puts into the problematic condition, into the turmoil or boil, whatever it is, so that, we start off oiling up our relation with Lord, lubricating our relationship with Lord by surrendering to Lord, and by, uh, you know, working more, going deep in our relationship with the Lord. My Lord, other than you, there is no one else. So that is, in fact, that particular practice is very, very important, because more, one fires up one's chitta, one's consciousness, more one can identify with the Lord, more one can identify with the surroundings, with the devotees, and that's how one starts feeling more and more. He was, he remains healthy, or he remains normal in the society. Or else, if one starts proportionally starts, and this all starts with holy names, chanting the holy names, and this particular understanding of whatever I spoke, last 5-10 minutes, so that actually directly impacts our chanting of holy names. So if one doesn't understand, if one takes Krishna casually, doesn't associate with Srila Prabhupada books, or that means directly associating with the qualities of Srila Prabhupada. If one doesn't do that, and one doesn't appreciate Krishna, doesn't go deep in one's relationship with Krishna, developing the trust in Krishna, or clarifying whatever faithlessness that one has by reading Srila Prabhupada books. If one doesn't do that regularly, then slowly all that accumulation of whatever stuff, it directly acts while chanting the holy names, and then that's how one starts feeling a little, you know what do you call, lackadaisical, little lazy in chanting of holy names, not so interested in chanting holy names and all that. And then one, he chants holy names in one way with that particular concept, and again certainly there won't be any reciprocation. Ye tamam prabhajante tam sadeva bhajamyaham. Once Radhesham Prabhu was like long before 13 years before. So previously I was into different kind of mission. So I mean I have sort of inclinations of that Mayavadi kind of this RK mission kind of thing. So, and there is a discussion with Radhesham Prabhu. So Radhesham Prabhu was clarifying different doubts. So one of the point he mentioned, that Lord is saying that um, you know you surrender to me, I reveal to you, and you say that I understand you, and then I'll surrender to you. So who is greater? So this point is mentioning, it's actually very deep point. So Sindhu Pro is there. So actually, who is greater? Etamam prabhadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. So, in proportion to the extent one surrenders to the Supreme Lord, to that much extent Lord reveals. And it is we who have to surrender. It is not that I'll understand, I'll get into some understanding and then I'll surrender or something like that. You have to understand that we are in a wrong concept, we have a wrong consciousness. At least that much humility should be there, even while reading Srila Prabhupada books also, so that we can that flow of the divine grace, it flows into our heart. And then, that will impact our chanting. Sravanam will impact Kirtanam. So both are very, very important. So, and in this process of chanting the holy names, there will be struggle. Giving up false ego, taking to true ego, it's not a joke. And His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj mentions, he compares meditation and chanting. Meditation, you just sit and you close your eyes. I practiced this many, many years, in fact, like, maybe, at least, 5 years like that. And, you just close your eyes and you just try to focus on, one point. But the point is, Maharaj mentions, the anarthas are all, very safely, they're nicely relaxing inside. There is, like, when there is still water, which has a lot of, stuff underneath, it is very nicely, I mean, all that dirt, which is there underneath is very nicely, there within that water body. So, in a similar way, within the heart, while doing meditation also, you are happy and anarthas are also happy and, you are just peacefully going on. But while chanting holy names, that is like Samudra Manthan, that is like churning of your heart. And all the, big fish, all the dirt of, big fishes, they start boiling up. And Lord Ramachandra, he looked at, he boiled Samudra, that whole entire ocean. The fishes, big fishes started, they shooted up into the air, boiling. They boiled and, they started shooting into the air. So it was like, all the stuff, it started coming out of, and finally the Samudra Dev, he came out. So the point is, chanting, it is like Samudra Manthan. It is boiling of the heart. All the anarthas which are nicely relaxing, just like the Samudra Dev, he disrespected Lord Ramachandra and is nicely relaxing. So the anarthas also, the false ego says, you just nicely relax. Why so much struggle for holy names? Why so much surrender to holy names? Just, relax. Then anarthas are also, nicely relaxing. So in the process of cleansing one's heart, so there will be struggle. Certainly there will be a lot of struggle. Jai Sri Nitai Gauranga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Narsimha Dev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So certainly there will be a different kind of way, the face may change sometimes. So because oftentimes it is, we discuss this particular point, face is the index of mind. But important thing is not the heart. It is not the index of heart. So there is a discussion and analysis which La Prabhupada does very amazingly in one of the morning walk, that how there is a difference between the mind, intelligence, false ego, and also chitta. So there is subtle thoughts. I mean, the thoughts which are there in our consciousness, they are actually subtle sounds. Maharaj mentions, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And holy name is the transcendental sound. So in proportion to the extent one is associating with subtle thoughts, one is in self-conscious, and in proportion to the extent one is associating with the transcendental sound, one is Krishna conscious, that is, he's rising above. And there will be struggles. It's not an easy thing, to give up false ego and think to true ego. So there's a very interesting discussion, Srila Prabhupada. I'll just play this short uh, audio of Srila Prabhupada. This is very important discussion, like everybody can be attentive.
So they have to go beyond mental platform. 𝐂𝐻𝐌𝐌𝐔𝐍 We want bodily, mental platform. Then they will understand. So, but that they do not know. There's the Parambhava. What is the actual significance? That is, they do not know. What is the actual significance of the soul and solar platform, spiritual? But that they do not know. They are studying from the mental platform. So they have to go beyond mental platform. 𝐂𝐻𝐌𝐼𝐍 We want bodily, mental platform. Then they will understand.
So we shouldn't bother with such tests. No. We're by submitting to them, we're actually we're endorsing that they are dealing with the
When
spiritual.
they come customer, you have to inform them that we are working on the platform of the soul. What do you know about the soul?
The psychologist has become a devotee.
That is another thing. He might have failed. Mental working in the mental plan, then he has come. That is another.
But still he wants to try and prove Krishna consciousness through this psychological testing.
Now what is psychological? Psychological means mental plan. Then how will understand soul from the mental platform? It's not possible.
What they want to know is the effect of the effect on
Effect
the
will be
mind.
good.
of the
As
soul.
soon as one is on this platform of the soul, the intelligence, mind, body, everything will be good.
That is what they are studying.
Yeah, that is another thing. It's like if you get millions of dollars, $10 is already there. You haven't got to endeavor for $10. Similarly, one who is on the platform of soul, Jasmin Vijnate, Sarvavedam Vijnatam Bhavanti. If you understand the platform of soul, then you understand the other platform, intellectual platform, mental platform, body. And platform of knowledge. Pratakha, parakha, aparakha, adukhaja, aprak. So aprakita is this platform of the soul. Krishna's activities, that is aprakita, completely far beyond this material platform. Material platform, pratakha, just like you want to see directly. That is pratakha. Then aparakha, accepting the authorities' version. Pratakha, parakha. Then aparakha, then adhokhaja. Beyond your mental speculation. Then aprakta, spiritual. Spiritual platform is not understood by machine, material machine. Then what is the spiritual platform? Krishna is understood not by machine. Krishna says, 𝐕𝐎𝐻𝐈𝐍. through devotion. The devotion is not machine. That is spiritual activity.
So you cannot understand the consciousness of a devotee by testing his body.
Huh?
You cannot understand the consciousness of a devotee by testing his body or his mind.
The consciousness means that is mental platform. Consciousness is also a different platform. Bodily consciousness, mental consciousness, intellectual consciousness, then spiritual consciousness. Krishna consciousness is spiritual consciousness.
So there's no way they can understand.
How they will understand? First of all, let them explain what does it mean by soul. That they cannot explain. They take mind as the ultimate.
Yes.
That's
And they see whether or not the mind is moving like this or like this or like this or like that. And then they have a gauge which says this is perfect. So they're judging whether or not.
And we say any position on the mental platform, it is all nonsense. Manorathena satu dham.
So the mind of a devotee is based on the activities of his spiritual consciousness.
Mind is of a devotee is upon Krishna. So what they will understand? The mind is in Krishna. What they will understand?
So according to different transcendental emotions, the mind will be agitated or calm. Or
It is not mind. It is spirit soul. You also do not understand. Spiritual platform is different. But so the spiritual activity is expressed through mind, through body, intelligence.
Yes. So that will bewilder them. This expression. This expression through it will bewilder them.
Yeah.
See, the materialist is seeing that everyone is agitated. So the goal in their life is cessation of that agitation. They want to merge or cease their existence. They want to go into nothingness. So
Yeah, that is there.
this is what they're looking for. The transcendental meditator goes in so that the gauge doesn't make any motion. But a rock, if you put that same gauge on a rock, it also doesn't make motion. Does that mean the rock is spiritual or that he's more advanced than someone else?
Yeah.
See, they're making perfect. They're saying that perfection is no motion. They're saying that perfection is inactivity. So they already have in their mind what they think is perfect, and then they're going to see if this method helps to achieve calmness or whatever they're calling perfection.
That puts up together. Nirvana.
So Nirvana, Prabhupada is commenting. I'm not sure how many of you are able to understand a conversation. It's a very simple conversation. Prabhupada is discriminating the different consciousness. So one cannot understand the spiritual consciousness by analyzing the mind. So it's beyond, someone is sort of expressing putting his face in a certain way. There is some kind of expression. That doesn't mean that, one can understand the chitta or the consciousness. And one can, start speculating about, he has, so and so kind of, so and so level of spirit or Krishna consciousness or whatever it is. The acharyas are clearly mentioning that there is a lot of difference. So how can if someone sits on Vyasasana and if he speaks Buddhism, it's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous practically. So, and if someone starts speculate, starts giving this Buddhist philosophy on the name of Krishna consciousness, then one those who have sort of inclination towards meditation or Arche mission kind of practices, they'll be very happy. Yeah, this is how we have to practice. The false ego is very nicely sitting and relaxing, and we should smile. This is how we have to practice. So when you smile, everyone thinks you are a very advanced personality, and your false ego and anarthas are very nicely like relaxing, and that's why you can continue your practice. So one may talk of surrendering to Guru, but if one is not in line with the Guru, so then that is not appropriate. So talking Sankhya is very, very attractive to westernized mindset. Yesterday Srila Prabhupada was mentioning. That's why this atheistic Kapila, he took advantage of it. Similarly, there is a sort of supervision analysis. There is a research, which people do. And recently, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was mentioning that Prabhupada, what he mentioned about research. Research means speculation. So on the name of doing research, or one starts speculating, but one will land up in a certain crazy kind of understanding, some Buddhist kind of understanding, and they may even start appreciating the people outside, like the Buddhists. In fact, psychologists during proper times, they have Buddhist kind of conception. Now they have totally material conception. They say you just keep your keep your anarthas very nicely, very safely, and you keep exercising your anarthas, then you are normal. They say that. But actually, according to the philosophy, it is very clear, what is normal. In fact, it is like, one devotee was sharing. Non-devotees, they always talk about happiness, but actually they are never happy. And devotees, they always talk about problems, and they are always happy. Problems in this world, and they are always happy. So if one takes to the outside philosophies, associating with these outside people, like psychologists or Buddhist, whoever it is. I remember once when I was doing book distribution, so I met one newspaper, what is it, editor. So he told me, you can go and share your views with the SHARE Commission Sannyasi in Goal Park, and he's very open-minded, this, that, and all, he said. So I went to Goal Park. I thought, he'll allow me to speak. so I met that sannyasi. That fellow, at the entrance only, he started, criticizing. He was like, sort of making fun of me. And he told me, you are very weak, you drink this coffee. He brought, one glass of coffee. And, because the outlook is totally different. You can see the bodily outlook. They have this bodily, and, everything is same. So of course, then I slowly, denied it, respectfully denied it, and I left also. In fact, he told, he was about to speak some philosophy, quoting some person. Do you know this person? Immediately I have cut him down by saying, actually Prabhupada mentions that if someone says that, someone, this person, then immediately you should say that, I never heard of him. Prabhupada. So I said, I never heard of him. So then, he immediately, calmed down. He didn't speak anything, and they didn't want to hear also. And slowly I got up, and he said again, you can take this coffee. I said, I smiled again, and left. And then he said, I got your message. He was saying this. Anyway, actually, they have their own philosophy, their own, outlook, bodily outlook. You drink coffee, and then you become fat, and that's why, your spirit also will be very nice. So this is totally against our, against Upadeshamrit. Drishtair Swabhava Janitar Vapusasya Doser Na Prakritatvam Iha Bhakta Janasya Pasyat. So actually, one may have a bodily deformations, or so-called expressions, or whatever external problems, and those kind of things are there. But just as Ganges, in the waters of Mother Ganga, there are foam, there is bubbles, and there's so much of dirt and everything. But Brahma Dravatvam, it is having its spiritual and divine nature, which cannot be denied. Just by saying, that, there is a, acidic content in Mother Ganga. So there is this content in Mother Ganga. So how can Ganga purify? If someone makes such kind of philosophy, it is crazy actually. So in a similar way, if one starts, getting into this kind of concepts, and because of whatever association one has, whether it is RK mission, whether it is psychologists, or whether it whoever it is, then one will end up in some crazy concepts. Even being a actually it is not just putting a kantimala and a tilak. It is how nicely one is practicing, applying the instructions is very, very important. One can associate with devotees, one can associate with one can start taking the name of guru also. Like I remember in 2011, like that I was hearing quote unquote, I mean, like I'll not give the details. I was hearing one of the class. So then I felt something fishy in that talk. I mean, like in the speaker's talk. I'm talking about only problem, not the person. So now this person, I went and of course complained to the to his friend. So somehow his friend sort of felt a little offended, and he started expressing himself to Navyogendra Maharaj that Maharaj, if I hear offenses, how should I this, that, and all. Of course I didn't speak much, but I didn't get into matter much, like there can be problems or whatever it is. But eventually this fellow, he started going up and up and up. He got so much of power, so much of influence, and he went up and up and up in his position. And after 10 years, 2021, he was finally caught by the management, and of course now he's like I don't know whether he's properly in ISKCON or whatever it is. So the point is, eventually, one gets exposed in some way or the other. One can have, very good relation with devotees, have, very good influence by doing the services, by having, good relation with temple president and management and GBCs, everybody. But, and the chanting is, we should be very, and the main concept, how it all started is this, the person, just I mentioned, the concept of chanting in the class, which you mentioned, we should be very peaceful in chanting. It's not like, there is so much struggle. We should be at peace while chanting. Like that, he was making. And then, I could understand, my Lord, there can be problems, by this projection of consciousness, And there are problems, there are so many big problems. So, someone may speak of holy names, and if he is, of course, not following Guru, if he is not in line with Guru, like while in the chanting of holy names, like some people have a concept of chanting that, I can take a very long time in chanting holy names. We should spend, बहुत आराम से peacefully हर नाम हर mantra japa करना है, as if you are a pure devotee. So actually, here Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaibhav was mentioning about one of the devotee. So, I mean, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj was mentioning. So one person was singing Mahamantra in a long, drawn-out manner that it took him a full 15 minutes to complete one mantra. He was modulating his voice and harmonium up and down the scale and gesticulating as if expressing deep emotion. Srila Saraswati Thakur later remarked that the Mahamantra could have been sung 50 times in the same amount of time, that the musician was singing it only once. There are further comments, which is little more strong. I will not get into it. So the point is, it's not just some peaceful chanting of holy name and peacefully spending on holy names and peaceful at holy names. If you are not in line with Guru Parampara, you'll be a nonsense. Over a period of time, these fellows develop proprietorship, enjoyership, and I want to become king of this bhavan, that bhavan, and they get into that. So the point is, one has to have a proper concept of holy names and also Guru Tattva. One has to follow Guru Tattva. 16 rounds. That's it. Of course, like Ekadashi is, little bit more. That's it. It's not that, you chant 64 rounds, 108 rounds, and that too, very inattentively, and, start showing up 192 rounds. Some records are there. We have 192 rounds. And Haridas Thakur, like Haridas Thakur, they want to show up themselves. And eventually, slowly, one gets exposed over a period of time. So you chant your 16 rounds attentively, and you exercise your heart, properly. It should not just be a lip dip; it should be heart dip. That is the main point. So I remember, way before in 2008, 2009, like that. So, I mean, this discussion I'm making, why many devotees they get into this kind of traps of different philosophies. It is once like during my days in 2008, 2009, like that, I was returning from one place, my sister's place, her place. So while I was returning, it was the buses are not available, and I got into one sumo kind of thing, and where there are two Yavanas, and I was a little afraid, to sit there. But of course, there is no way also, to go back home. So, but they're having a very interesting discussion. It was, they're discussing that, if there is a problem, so there is one kind of person, अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो आप जाके फिजिकली उसको रोकना चाहिए. अगर फिजिकली आप रोक नहीं पाया तो आपको बोलना चाहिए. हिज फिलॉसफी. अगर आप फिजिकली रोक नहीं पाया और बोल नहीं पाया तो आपको मन में सोचना चाहिए कि ये गलत है. समथिंग रॉन्ग इज गोइंग ऑन. अगर आप फिजिकली रोक नहीं पाया एंड बोल नहीं पाया एंड इवन यू आर अनेबल टू मन में सोच नहीं पाया, so then there is something wrong with you only. So while giving association with the people outside, you have to hear so many things, but you should hook on your consciousness with Guru and Krishna properly. But if that hook is, if it becomes a little dila, and you start becoming enthusiastic to associate with, you have to hear, certainly, you have to hear from people, while giving association, while talking to them. But if that hook is not proper, and if you become enthusiastic, in hearing what he is saying, that means there is something wrong. So that's how, people start getting into, so many different traps. So one should not go to other extremes. We have to follow our GVCs. Like GVCs are saying, Nitai Gauranga. We should not say some Nitai Gaur Sundar. We should say Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, they're saying you have to follow Nitai Gauranga. So, of course, there will be a little struggle, in following Guru Parampara and following Krishna. But that struggle in practice, it actually, strengthens our focus. Just like, that convex lens, all the rays are, in one point. So like that, more, you take, different restrictions and different instructions you follow strictly, you apply it strictly, the more, you start experiencing a higher bliss. Krishna will surely reciprocate, when there is a struggle, Krishna will definitely reciprocate. More sincerely we apply, and, like why get into, some shortcuts of, why get into, some other, views of, outside people, what happiness is. Nicely, chant holy names. Life will be peaceful. Life will be very happy, very nice. Of course, there will be, just like, Param Pujya Bhaktivinoda Maharaj said, there will be a phase of struggle where one has to give up false ego and take to true ego. And there will be a lot of feeling of, being abandoned or being left out by Krishna or whatever it is. But that exercise is, one should not, feel lackadaisical. Oh, no, I'll not give up this. I mean, I don't want this purification, better I'll keep my anarthas. I'll sort of, want to be a normal of, in the eyes of, people of this world. What people say, what others say, whatever it is. So one has to be very, very careful and conscientious of what philosophy one is practicing, one is applying. One has to follow Srimad Bhagavatam. One has to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And this can happen, this speaking can happen when one applies Srimad Bhagavatam wholeheartedly. One applies himself wholeheartedly So that much extent, one can follow. It's not just, some kind of, I'll keep my anardas very nicely, and, I'll do some eye massage of, darshans, and, I'll start to, put my eyes, and, I'll try to put so many expressions in front of deities. Nothing is going to happen. Until the point of time you exercise your false ego, you give up your false ego, you surrender to instructions of Guru and Krishna, you give up your whimsicalities, you follow the Guru Parampara, you will not be able to truly experience Krishna's mercy, Krishna's reciprocation. So these are some of the thoughts in relation to the practice of Krishna consciousness, like Bhaktivinoda Maharaj was mentioning about taking to true ego, how everyone undergoes this struggle. And when one is in the topmost point of one's bhakti, that is actually part and parcel of bhakti of gopis. So the gopis feelings are very very high, and the reciprocation of Krishna with the gopis is also very very high. So it is beyond our mind, also beyond our consciousness. So I'm not so much into that particular discussion. I just discussed whatever I could discuss at my level. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेदक भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।